Welcome this evening to what would have been my late mother, Dr. Rohini Nayyar's 81st birthday. There's nothing she liked more personally than spending an evening amongst friends and family. There's nothing she was more passionate about professionally than rural development. And as some of my friends, some of my brother's friends, and other young people would testify, she always loved being with youngsters and loved supporting youngsters, loved mentoring youngsters. And today we are here for a prize in its fourth edition, which is awarded to a person under 40 for an outstanding contribution to rural development. Just a quick introduction of dignitaries on the dais here. We are privileged to have as the chief guest today Professor S. Mahendra. He is chairman of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council since June. An eminent economist, he was earlier director and vice chancellor of the Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research in Mumbai. He has been chairman of the Commission of Agricultural Costs and Prices. He has been director of the Center for Economics and Social Studies in Hyderabad. In what is a direct link with today's prize winner, who will be revealed later, he is also someone who's done a lot of work on agriculture and food. He sat on the board of the International Food Policy and Research Institute, where he was also the vice chairman of the board of trustees. So it's an honor to have you with us today. He also knew my mother, and I think one of the things we've tried to do in the at least the initial years of the prize is to have someone here who had a connect with my mother, Dr. Rohini Nayyar, or her work. We also have with us three of our four jury members. Without them, this prize would not have come into being. They are more than jury members. They are also collaborators, co-creators. They led us on this path. None of us, apart from my late mother in the family, are experts in rural development, although we are all boring economists. Dr. Seeta, Prabhu, sorry, I use the word boring economist, but she's an eminent economist, current and a dear friend of my late mother as well. She's come all the way from Mumbai to be here. So she's a visiting professor at Institute of Human Development and senior fellow at TIS. Thank you, ma'am, for making the trip. I'm sure my mother would be most delighted. Dr. Rajesh Tandon, a pillar of civil society, founder of PRIA, and again, a driving force behind this prize. Welcome, sir. And Dr. Ashok Khosla, again, one of the most eminent figures of Indian civil society, founder of Development Alternatives, spent a long time in the United Nations. Again, as with our other jury members, very much a co-creator of this prize. We'll begin proceedings with a brief address from my father, Professor Deepak Nayyar. He'll say a few words about my late mother.
Friends and family, I'm delighted, indeed touched, that so many of you have made the effort to join us this evening. Let me also welcome our chief guest, Mahendra, who knew Rohini well for a long time. Our chief guests at this award ceremony in the preceding 3 years, Suman Berry, N.K. Singh, and Ramesh Mashalkar, also knew Rohini and her work closely. We hope, and this is the advice I have from Rajesh Tandon, that we continue this tradition for so long as we can. Bring as chief guest people who knew Rohini. I would also like to welcome the distinguished members of our jury seated on the dais. As most of you know, we lost Rohini to cancer 4 years ago. The idea of this prize in memory of her life and work surfaced in a conversation that I had with our sons, Dheeraj and Gaurav, a few months after we lost Rohini, as we thought it was also important for us to celebrate her professional life. The transformation of the idea into a concept and then turn it into a reality, as Dheeraj said, would have been simply impossible without the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom, and the guidance of Ashok Khosla, Rajesh Tandon, Renana Chapala, and Seeta Prabhu. Our esteemed jury members who were most generous with their scarce time, we owe them a deep debt of gratitude. For Rohini, the development of rural India, where a large proportion of our poor people live, was both a passion and a mission. This was so in every phase of her life, as a young student, as an IAS officer, as a doctoral student, as a researcher, and as a policy practitioner in government. Economists often focus on income levels, economic growth, or the wealth of nations. Rohini's focus was always on the well-being of people. Last year, our chief guest, Ramesh Mashalkar, quoted her in his address, stressing her views that poverty is not only about empty pockets, but is also about stomachs without food, minds without learning, and lives without choices. And that was Rohini. Her doctoral thesis, later published by Oxford University Press, titled Rural Poverty in India, was both original and pioneering. She estimated the calorie equivalent of the actual quantities of food consumed and then constructed state-specific poverty lines in money terms to provide systematic estimates of poverty in rural India through the 1970s and 1980s. She was also the first to study interstate differences and how these related to malnutrition, disease, morbidity, education, healthcare. These multiple dimensions of poverty had barely received any attention from economists at the time. This perspective surfaced a quarter century later as the Multidimensional Poverty Index. Her research on poverty and landlessness as the fundamental cause of poverty was also widely cited. Rohini served in the Planning Commission for almost 2 decades, bridging the gap between research and policy, providing leadership on a wide range of policy issues during the period that spanned poverty alleviation, employment creation, drought-prone areas, wasteland development, Panchayati Raj, women and child development, nutrition, and indeed even civil society organizations. She was closely associated with the implementation and evaluation of several self-employment programs in rural areas, and was always a strong advocate of consolidating many of these centrally sponsored schemes into one. The culmination of her efforts in this domain was the conception and design of the MNREGA during 2004 and 2005 at the Planning Commission, where she played a pivotal role. She also championed the idea and led the process of preparing the first ever Human Development Report, India Human Development Report. But this watershed initiative was just a beginning, as she went on to institute a series of human development reports for most states of India, which were not done by governments, which were actually, she commissioned institutions and scholars to carry out these reports. Now, these are just a few examples of her professional contributions, which are widely recognized now. Rohini may not have been visible in the public domain, but she was incredibly influential in shaping public policy, working tirelessly behind the scenes to make a lasting impact on rural development. In doing so, and that was Rohini, she mentored her younger colleagues, guiding a generation of economists, administrators, policymakers, and development practitioners. Yet, in keeping with her persona, she was so modest and unassuming that she never spoke about her professional work life, either with family or friends. In fact, she was amongst the fortunate few, who was always serious about her work, but never took herself seriously. If Rohini was listening to me this evening, and many of you knew her, and what I have said about her so far, she would have chastised me for a narrow, almost boring perspective. For her, life was about much more than the world of work. Family and friends were a very important part of her life. She loved art. Indeed, we were art collectors, even we could not afford the much lower prices in those early days of our lives. Her interest in handicrafts ran deep. She was a gourmet and she loved travel. Most importantly, perhaps, she was a connoisseur of saris. Many people here know that, who had intimate knowledge of their weaves and designs as much as their geographies and histories. Her passion for and collection of saris was widely known and much admired. Rohini is remembered fondly by all for her personal qualities as she touched the lives of everyone she came in touch with, whether at work or in the world outside. She was considerate, caring, empathetic, understanding, generous, and affectionate as a person who almost always thought about others. And she was adored by people across the spectrum of age who knew her. The Rohini Nayyar Prize for an outstanding contribution to rural development in India, conceived by us, is our attempt to embody that spirit of Rohini, to recognize and reward young individuals working away from the media headlines with marginalized communities in remote areas, to create better living conditions for people and enable longer-term sustainable development. In times to come, it is our hope that the Rohini Nayyar Prize will become the gold standard for persons working in the world of rural development in India, and that it would motivate the winners, inspire more innovative work, and disseminate best practices across India. The response to this prize has been amazing. We have received applications from all over the country. We are greatly impressed by the quality of work, not just Dheeraj and I, but our distinguished jury members, that is being undertaken across rural India and the real difference it is making to people's lives. The prize has received recognition in civil society and in the media. When we began thinking about the prize, and Ashok and Rajesh would remember that, we were somewhat hesitant, if not diffident, stipulating that candidates must be less than 40 years of age. But this idea was in conformity with Rohini's commitment to nurture young people, for she believed that what they did would shape our future. And our hope has been borne out by experience. In 2022, the first prize winner, Setyacham Sangtam from Nagaland, was 39 years old. In 2023, the second prize winner, Dinanath Rajput from Chhattisgarh, was 32 years old. In 2024, the third prize winner, Anil Pradhan from Odisha, was 28 years old. In 2025, we will announce the name very soon, this downward trend in the age of the prize winner has continued. Every year, the competition amongst those in the final shortlist has been intense. That so many young people under the age of 40 are choosing to work in this space when they have so many career options to choose from fills us with optimism about the future. There is so much talent out there that needs to be recognized and encouraged. Sometime in the not too distant future, I hope that we can find the resources to introduce a runner-up prize, and even that will not suffice. There are so many good people out there. Thank you.
I'd now like to request, on behalf of the jury, Professor Seeta Prabhu to address the audience.
Thank you, Dheeraj, and to the distinguished members on the dais. It's an honor and a privilege to be speaking on behalf of the jury at this very emotionally charged event. What would have been Rohini's, and she insisted that I call her by the first name, Rohini's 81st birthday. And she was a good friend, and we worked together. Among the jury, I'm the only one who is not a practitioner in rural development. We have iconic figures on the jury, Ashok, Khosla, Rajesh, Tandon, Renana Jabwala. And my only claim to be in the jury, I guess, is that we, Rohini and I, worked together on the State Human Development Report project for a considerable period of time. And that association gives me a small foothold into this jury, which has carried on a remarkable responsibility towards identifying and recognizing talent among the youngsters. Now, when a few words that I would like to say about Rohini before I go on to the process of the prize itself. is that Rohini had this unique combination of being gentle and yet firm. I called her in the tribute that I paid soon after her unfortunate demise, a gentle colossus. A colossus she was, because the type of achievements that she had accomplished are things which are foundational in nature. Because whether it be the implementation of the rural development programs or the wage employment programs in the Planning Commission, or whether it was the leadership provided to the State Human Development Reports program. I would just like to say this was the program with which I was associated from the UNDP and she was from the Planning Commission. This Jugalbandi led to the creation of 26 state human development reports across the country and several district human development reports, a record that is still holds globally because there is no other country which has prepared so many sub-national human development reports. More than the quantity, I think it's the quality and the process, because Rohini was a person who was very keen on ensuring fair and just processes. The process of government ownership of the human development reports, and she insisted that for recommendations to be implemented in policy, it had to be owned by the government, which was quite contrary to the process that the UNDP followed. And it was, in fact, from the headquarters, we received several reminders that a human development report is an independent report generally prepared by the UNDP and recommended to the government. Whereas here you have a process which is owned by the government. But remarkably, we had government ownership, editorial independence, and widespread participation. I see so many of the people in the audience who had contributed to the process of, preparing the state human development reports, including our chief guest, who were all mobilized, brought in, and to contribute to the state level recommendations. Not only that, she didn't rest on the report being prepared, but using her influence, she goaded state governments to implement the recommendations such that the importance given to social sectors in the state government policies and in the resource allocations improved remarkably. So I think this is one of the ways in which her own influence she used to impact the lives of many more people in the state level as well as at the national level. For all her gentleness and her open-hearted nature and interaction with the international agencies, when it came to the preparation of the National Human Development Report, the first ever for the country, she firmly believed that it had to be a national effort, in-house effort, and UNDP could not get an idea of what was being done till the very last moment. And then, as courtesy, she made a presentation, her researchers made a presentation to the UNDP just before its release. So this gentleness in dealing with people, but a firmness of conviction was a unique feature of Rohini. The process, I thank the Nayyar family for instituting this award because I think this reflects the deep commitment that Rohini had towards work in the rural areas. And I'm also glad that the rural development arena has not been defined narrowly, but includes a large number of sectors, including climate action, social sectors, and many more, so that it is open to people who are improving the well-being of the marginalized sections of the community across the country and not really confined to only livelihoods or employment programs. The process, I've learned a lot being a member of this jury because the intense discussions that followed and the discussions on each of the applicants' work was indeed an eye-opener. The selection of the candidates, the preparation of a shortlist was sometimes preceded by intense discussions, but nonetheless, overall, we did find a unanimity in shortlisting of candidates. Now, each of the shortlisted candidates, they were a visit to each of the sites to understand the work that was being done, and then the reports along with the applications were considered once again for selecting the final winner. This was not an easy process, I assure you, and there were many doubts many opinions, but this year at least we could say that it was a unanimous opinion. One thing that we found is that the quality of the applications has been improving year after year, and more importantly, there are many more women who have been applying, which is quite heartening, because Rohini would have not liked, would have certainly wanted to see more women applying for these posts and winning the prize on their own merit. I think the Rohini Nayyar Prize has established a practice of recognizing merit, especially among young people. It nurtures their work by providing a cash incentive and allows the applicants to pursue their goals freely without any conditions. I think all these aspects of the prize make it very valuable, and I do hope that in the years that ahead, the prize will be established as one of the leading, as Professor Nayyar said, as a gold standard for rural development work in the country. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
I'd now like to request Professor Mahendra to address the gathering.
Dr. Deepak Nayyar, all the jury members, and Dr. Dheeraj Nayyar, and some of my teachers and colleagues are here. So very good evening to all of you. So let me first thank Dr. Deepak Nayyar and Nayyar Foundation for inviting me for this Rohini Nayyar Prize function. So this is a fitting tribute to her excellent work on rural development. She had a brilliant academic and policy record, and was passionate about rural development. Of course, even now, development of rural areas is important, as they constitute almost 65% of the population, and also employment equally, and contribute also, we don't know the numbers, but maybe 45% of GDP. But also majority of the poor are still in rural areas. Of course, rural areas are changing. The more infrastructure, communication is better now, and so a lot of good work is going on. So in the next 20 minutes, I'll be speaking on Rohini's work on rural India and my interaction with her since the early 1990s. So as I was also working on, as mentioned, on agriculture and rural development, so I had a lot of interactions and discussed with her on this subject during the period 1990 to 2005. So another common thing, of course, with Rohini is the Delhi School of Economics. She did masters from Delhi School of Economics. I also did there from my MPhil and PhD there. And we are also, Rohini and myself, are also founding members of the Institute for Human Development. I think we started in 97-98. So the first time I have read her article in EPW, published in 1976, almost 50 years back. This was a note on wages of agriculture laborers in Uttar Pradesh. So it's a response to Deepak Lal's article in EPW, because Deepak Lal showed that real wage of agriculture laborers increased in many states, including UP, due to Green Revolution. That is the demand factor. But Rohini, using the more reliable data, argued that real wage growth declined in UP, which had Green Revolution, particularly Western UP. And she argued there was no simple causal relationship between the introduction of the new yielding varieties, technology, and trends in real wages. Because there are many complex set of factors, the wages in rural areas, political economy, and also bargaining power of agricultural laborers and the landowners, and the contractual relationship. So all this influence. So therefore, she argued that it would be simplistic to believe that real wage rates in rural India are determined by the supply and demand factors in the labor market. So another work I used for my research was her book, which Dr. Deepak Nayyar mentioned, the rural poverty in India, an analysis of interstate differences published in 1991. As he mentioned, she constructed for 13 states the poverty lines using the nutrition numbers and all, baskets separately. So the comparisons between her estimates and the usual, we use the basket and update with prices. So those are completely different. And this approach takes care of interspatial and intertemporal changes in the consumption habits. And also she talked about multidimensional poverty, which now Niti Aayog is talking about. But it doesn't mean she was against consumption poverty estimates. In fact, she felt both were needed. They were complementary, actually. And multidimensional poverty indicates, of course, non-income based, while consumption-based, poverty represents income. So thus both are complementary. Regarding my interaction with Rohini, I met her first time in the Planning Commission in the early 1990s. So in ICADR in the early 90s, I wrote a few papers on employment guarantee scheme in Maharashtra. So Rohini wanted to discuss, this wage employment program. What are the merits and demerits? And I met her in many times in the Planning Commission, as we were in the several committees for different 5-year plans. So later, Center introduced the MG Narega, which is much better version of compared to EGS in Maharashtra. So she was responsible for designing MG Narega, which was launched in 2006. In fact, at that time, Rohini and myself listed the direct and indirect benefits of MG Narega. Direct benefits, we know, the creation of wage employment, which will help the incomes. Second, of course, asset creation also. But there are many indirect benefits. Number one is, when you ask the Narega workers, the most important benefit, according to workers, is the self-respect. Because earlier they were dependent on the landlords for employment. So now we have alternative MG Narega kind of thing. So and bargaining power of workers has increased. The second positive impact on agriculture wages because of this bargaining power. Third is women empowerment, because many of the almost 50% are workers are women. And also reduction in distress migration in something. And lastly, also it was done through panchayats and all. So grassroots democracy also improved. So that listing was useful because to support the program at that time. I had more interactions with her when I was in Delhi for a year, 96, 97. Dr. Abid Hussain invited me to be senior fellow at Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. So during that period, I wrote a chapter actually on agriculture for the 8th 5-year plan. And I also discussed with Rohini on rural development chapter in that for the 9th 5-year plans. So at that time, we, Alak Sharma, Dr. Hashim and Rohini and myself established this Institute for Human Development, I think 97 or so. Coming to her contributions to research and policy, in fact, IHD published a book in 1998 entitled Empowering Rural Labor in India, edited by R. Radhakrishna and Alak Sharma. So in that book, Rohini contributed a paper entitled An Assessment of Wage Employment Programs. Although the title is Wage Employment, but if you read that, it deals with policies on entire rural development, including rural institutions in India. Apart from supporting poverty alleviation programs, she also felt there was a need for creating greater employment in the growth process itself. So therefore, she argued for integration of poverty alleviation programs with sectoral programs. So the focus would be on agriculture and allied activities, on the rural non-farm sector and services which have high employment elasticity. So in the 8th plan, she argued for a high degree of convergence between various poverty alleviation programs and the area development programs as well as sectoral programs. So there was a complete dichotomy between these two areas. So she wanted to argue that there should be linkages between the two, because that would raise agriculture productivity and rural productivity there. And also she also talked about the tribal areas development is one of the focus areas on rural development. See, tribal population, one of the, of course, highest poverty, but a lot of good work is going on the tribal areas, both by NGOs and others, how to develop their well-being. Coming to rural non-farm employment, there was a lot of discussion on the determinants of rural non-farm employment, which was increasing in the 1980s and 1990s. So in my research, I was focusing on how agriculture productivity leads to rural non-farm employment. But some of them, like Rohini Nayyar, Abhijit Sin and all, they said public expenditure played an important role in rural non-farm, apart from agriculture productivity. Similarly, her work on gender empowerment is also well known. In her article on female participation rates of women, she indicated that it was necessary to increase the productive employment for women because of it empowers and also gives independence. She also advocated self-employment programs for women on self-help groups. I was working on self-help groups in Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra Pradesh, when I was at SES, Hyderabad. So Rohini gave some suggestions how to improve the working of self-help groups. So I told these suggestions to the then Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. So he implemented some of them, which Rohini suggested. And also she recognized the contribution of the Anganwadi workers because the contribution to child nutrition is very important. And in the early 2000s, we also discussed on inclusive growth. So because Planning Commission was talking. So what is inclusive growth? So we thought, apart from looking at interpersonal inequalities, we thought of focusing on some sectors and topics like agriculture, employment, social sector, and human development, poverty, and inequalities. So I used this framework actually in my book on inclusive growth, published in 2008. And as mentioned by Dr. Deepak Nayyar, she also did a lot of work on interstate variations. In all her articles, you find state level estimates, disparities, and all. In fact, even in policy, she used to advise states to improve their performance in development and also in implementing centrally sponsored schemes. So, as already mentioned by both Dr. Deepak Nayyar and Dr. Seeta Prabhu, at the state level, another focus area is state level human development reports. So, almost 26 states they have done. So, at SES Hyderabad, I did for combined Andhra Pradesh human development report, which now the report is still being discussed by many people. And also, she also did on district incomes. In fact, she published a book with some co-authors on estimating district income in India. In fact, I also used the district income in that AP Human Development Report for education, nutrition, and other indicators. While discussing human development, employment, etc., we also kept in mind the East Asia and Southeast Asian experience, which Dr. Deepak Nayyar did a lot of work. Because we all know the experience of those countries. So we were discussing in the Planning Commission also on because two things which we missed is since independence is first is labor intensive manufacturing. The second is we didn't give that much importance to basic education, basic health since independence. Now, of course, things are improving. So those I think we were also discussing on the human development reports also. Similarly, institutions also she discussed in that article also on strengthening panchayats because it is recognized that decentralization in terms of transferring power to local councils is important for development. In fact, late B.N. Yugandhar, he was Satyanarayana Lala's father, was a planning commission member. So we were discussing how to give more powers to panchayats at that time. Because for many state governments, in India, decentralization means up to states. So they don't want to give it to the councils, local councils, and in fact, compared to many other countries, because decentralization, they transfer 51% in China, 27% in US, and India it's 3%. So that we need more decentralization. So before concluding, my last point is on technology. Because if Rohini was alive, she would have liked to work on use of technology for rural development. So in agriculture, we talk a lot about using technology. Now, we don't need genetically modified technology. The gene editing is coming. So which ICAR is doing this gene editing, and rice varieties recently released, which gives equally the yields compared to GM crops. And of course, similarly for many of the things, we can use now AI model also for detecting crops residue burning in India also. And farmers, uploading photos of crops can get information on pests and diseases. So, in fact, a study by JPAL at MIT showed how schools in Brazil benefited from AI. I don't have studies for India. So, they have one platform called Letras, which is an AI-based education platform in Brazil. So, that helps high school students to improve writing skills. So in Brazilian public schools, the students score low on writing tests. So teachers rarely have time to provide individual feedbacks. So this Letras platform improved writing skills and reduced inequality. There was 35% increase in teacher engagement with students. So increasing writing test scores also increased by 17%. So the Letras now serves more than 1,200 schools in Brazil. And so rural India also, of course, can benefit from these technologies and enhance achievements in agriculture, manufacturing and services, health and education and nutrition. To conclude, Rohini was a wonderful human being with compassion and empathy. She was helpful to all, particularly to younger people. Always humble and down to earth, and also in our rural development approach, always concerned for the poor and vulnerable, because including the tribals and other policy approach. As I said, many good things are happening in rural development despite some problems. There are many unsung heroes, women and men, doing great work and innovations at grassroots level. I am sure the prize for the young people under the age of 40 will motivate many people, and her legacy will continue to inspire particularly people in the field. And congratulations to the today's prize winner. And it was a privilege to work with her on policies for rural development for a long time. So once again, I thank Nayyar Foundation for inviting me to this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Mahendra. One of the things that my father mentioned, and some others also, about my mother being understated, about her work in particular, is that each year when the chief guest talks about some of their work with my mother, I learn a lot as well. I unfortunately didn't study rural development as a specialization as an economist, but the more one hears about her collaborators and the work that she did, one is quite proud of all that she did, and really didn't speak about very much to anybody, not even at home. Just for a quick note before we come to the prize winner, for any members of the press, there is a press release outside with the Rekha, and you can, and a brochure as well. You can please collect that on your way out. So this prize has moved, as my father mentioned, it's going down in age from 39 to 32 to 28. This year's winner is 24. It's moving geographies as well. The first prize went to Nagaland, a person from Nagaland working in Nagaland. Second, Chhattisgarh. Third, Orissa. This time it's Maharashtra. Before asking her to come on stage, let her introduce herself through a short video in which she'll speak about her work.
In the heart of rural Maharashtra, a quiet revolution is unfolding, where every grain of millet speaks of science, soil, and sustenance. At the center of this change is Vidhya Parshuramkar, a young food technologist driven by the belief that good nutrition is not a privilege but a right. From the laboratories of IIT Kharagpur to the farmlands of Oruli Kanchan, she transformed her research into a journey of renewal and rural empowerment.
I'm a daughter of farmer. I born and brought up in the village where the paddy is grown everywhere. I saw the pain behind them because when they are sowing the paddy, they are not getting the enough income. I saw the pain of school-going children who are not getting their nutrition. Then I decided to become a food technologist. Food and innovation can meet the hidden hunger and also the farmers' problem.
Her solution took shape as Nutri Dabba, a millet-based iron-rich nutrition kit designed to combat anemia, one of India's most silent yet widespread health challenges.
Every children deserve a lunchbox which can fulfill their daily essential nutrients. So that's why I started working onto the Nutri Dabba, which is a combination of pearl millet and vitamin C based foods. So I make a kit which comprises of 7 different products which can not be a monotonous product to eat to the school going children so they cannot be bored. That is the innovation behind the Nutri Dabba.
Through Hydro NIR technology, she extended the shelf life of millet flour from just 10 days to 6 months, all naturally without using preservatives.
हे पदार्थ खाल्ल्यामुळे मी एकदम ठणठणीत व माझे शरीर एकदम चांगले आहे.
For Vidya, nutrition is more than food. It is education, dignity, and livelihood. Through the Nutri Pathshala model, Agrozy Organics brings farmers, women, and children together in a shared circle of empowerment.
Women are the backbone of Nutri Dabba. Through women SDGs, that is in Maharashtra we called it as Bachat Gat. So they manufactured the Nutri Dabba. We have given them the SOPs and training capacity building program so that they can understand our Nutri Dabba and our innovation in a better way, and we manufactured our product through them. We are giving them a fixed amount of money or the income to sustain them.
मी ॲग्रोजी या कंपनीकडनं बाजरीचे बियाणे खरेदी केले आहे. त्या बियाण्यापासून मला अपेक्षेप्रमाणे जास्त उत्पन्न निघाले. ती बाजरी लोहयुक्त असल्यामुळे त्याच्यापासून लाडू बिस्किट बनवण्यासाठी त्याचा उपयोग होत आहे. एकदम चांगल्या प्रकारे ही बाजरी बियाणे आहे.
In collaboration with Harvest Plus and the Apple Foundation, Vidya's work under the Hansa project is transforming school meals for millions across India, showing how a small innovation can grow from a village kitchen into a national model.
आमची मुलं रोज आम्हाला म्हणतात की आम्हाला आहार मिळाला पाहिजे आणि आहार मिळाल्यामुळे आमच्या मुलांच्या वजन वाढली, उंची वाढली.
Behind these is a quiet movement, a community where science, women and the soil join hands to foster a healthier nation.
Millets Now has started with 300 school-going children. Millet Now just started with a Hydro NIR technology. We never dreamed that yes, Nutri Dabba will be evolved in Agrozy Organics. So we want to scale up our model to millions of school going children, just not in India but globally. So that is our simple vision.
This year's winner, Vidhya Parshuramkar.
Good evening to everyone present here. I'm truly glad to be here, and I thank Nayyar Foundation to given me the opportunity to stand here. I have read so much about Rohini ma'am, but I learned so many things and I heard so many things. Like there is lot more things to learn about them. Today is very special day. Today is the anniversary of our ma'am, and today is also the anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who is the Iron Man of India. He built the nation as a united nation. He gives the purpose, he gives the strength to our nation. And likewise, we are also building a nation which will become the iron deficient free. We have built the Nutri Dabba, which is made from ancient grain, that is pearl millet. Many of you known as the bajra. So we have made the kit to tackle iron deficiency anemia in school going children. Today, we are working to unite with the nation. We are working onto the project Hansa, where we have united with the farmers who grows the grains. The mother, that is our SDGs woman, who feed their children. And finally, the children's whose future is depends on good health. Because nation is not built by just the walls, the borders and everything. Nation is built by strong people like you. Like I'm so much glad to be here. This is my first event. I'm listening and I'm giving the speech. So I'm so much glad. I have started working onto this because of my personal pain. Many of you, I don't know how many of you knows, but in India, every second school-going children suffer from iron deficiency anemia. And globally, 2 billion people suffer from this deficiency, yet overlooked. And I am the one of them. I had also, when I'm studying, I had the iron deficiency. I started searching the natural ways to tackle this deficiency. In market, there are so many ways are available, like iron supplementation, folic acid tablet supplementation, but there is no natural ways to tackle this deficiency. And being a food technologist from IIT Kharagpur, I had just one question: how this is possible to me to get iron deficiency, being a food technologist and being known that how food is important to us and knowledge of food. I had just one question: how this is possible to me? And the answer was simple. I just neglected the campus placement, that is the comfort wali job, and I started my startup, that is Millets Now, where we have solving the question which I had every time I scratch, like how this is possible to me, and now I am globally presenting my startup everywhere in the world. When I started working with my team, we innovated the product that is Nutri Dabba. Nutri Dabba is just not a product, it's an emotion of everyone, like from farmers to women and to the school going children. We worked not only with children with our Hansa project, we worked with farmers also. We have our buyback model where we worked with the farmers by giving them quality of seeds and taking their grains on buyback model so that they can increase their income, and we will get the quality of grains to manufacture Nutri Dabba. And second pillar of our Hansa project is women SHGs. To women SHGs, because in Maharashtra there are so many bachat gat, like for example, women collect their money, the monthly money they collect, and they do something for what they want. So what we do with them, we just train them and give them training and capacity building program and manufacture this Nutri-Dabba with them, with the help of them, and distribute this Nutri-Dabba to school going children with the help of them, thereby just increasing their income and just connecting with my roots. So that is the main vision which I had carried. And second one, I will say, with my team we have also innovated one technology that is patented of my company, that is hydro NIR technology, that is extend the shelf life of pearl millet flour, that is the bajra flour, up to 6 months without compromising its nutritional value, because bajra is very much rich in iron, but its product commercialization is not possible due to the poor shelf life. So that we have tackled with our technology, and for this we are awarded by Honorable President of India in 2024. We started working with just 300 school going children in small village, that is Sindhavne in district Pune, and now we have reached around 4 lakh school going children. And also we are expanding this to the South Asian countries, because there is so many malnutrition is there. So that's why we want to expand our technologies there, and I am so much connected with Food and Agriculture Organization, and this month I got the award, that is Startup Innovation Award in FAO, organized in Rome. So yes. So thereby we are commercializing our technology in a South Asian country. Being a woman founder, it's not really easy, because I'm just 24-year-old. It's not easy because it is just not overcoming the challenges that faced everyone. It is the challenges which are separate for the women. By the society, from home to the society to the families, you have to answer every question. So that is my struggle. We do just not carry our dreams, but we carry the expectation, the hope from our parents, from my mother. See, I will give one example of mine. I have taken just very first international trip to the Rome. That was my first international trip, and it was alone. Unfortunately, it was alone. So I'm so much glad to be awardee in Startup Innovation Award. And my mom is also so happy. But she's so happy, but she's very worried. Like, how we will manage these things, how we will go alone, and how we will do everything. And she did not sleep. She just checking me, calling me, did you check in or not? Because you're going alone. How you will manage everything? So that is the pain the woman can understand only, because being a woman, this is very small things, but for women this is reality. Even when we step into the world to achieve something big, we are constantly balancing our emotions and concern of our loved ones. But let me tell you one thing, women can become best entrepreneurs. And why this is possible? Because women carry lots of emotions. I have seen so many women, they carry lots of emotions in them. So the crisis, the responsibility, how to manage everything without anything. So that is the quality of woman, and that needs to be into the startup also. So for the woman, yes, it is not very easy, but I will tell you to every woman, because I have experienced these things, do not wait for the right moment. Just grab the opportunity and go for it. Yes, thank you so much, and I thank Nayyar Foundation to give me this opportunity to stand here and speak myself. Thank you so much.
Now we have the job of handing over. Please come with your trophy, 10 lakh check and citation. All that remains is to thank our chief guest once again, Dr. Mahendra Dev, Priyanka. Just a token of our appreciation, a small clap. And of course, each of our jury members, Dr. Seeta, Prabhu, Dr. Rajesh Tandon, and Dr. Ashok Khosla. And special thanks to you, Priyanka, as well, Dr. Alak Sharma, the IHD team who always support us for this event. I see many stalwarts of the Planning Commission, of government, economists in the audience. Thank you all for making the time to be here and celebrating this evening with us in memory of my mother. And of course, youngsters like Vidhya, who are the future of India, and more power to them, and hope to see you all again next year. Thank you.